On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, a certain scientific railgun, season 3, episode 9, Kozaku Mitori. Oh, sweet lord, my railgun cup runneth over. Honestly, I thought we were gonna be another week, 2 weeks for the next episode, but it looks like we're getting back-to-back episodes, and I fucking love it. This episode had it all. The first interaction between two main characters, a pretty shocking reveal, as well as leaving off in a cliffhanger. Not to mention Mizuka playing dress up once again. I mean, come on, if there was one person in the series that'll make sunglasses and a pantsuit look good, yeah, it's fucking Railgun. But wait a second, let's not forget how she actually got her hands on said suit. But come on, it was a white guy with dreadlocks. What the fuck you think was gonna happen? Okay, so last we left off, the majority of the episode took place in the back of a semi-truck where Mizuka was having a nice little chit-chat with Misaki. We found out why she's doing everything and what her grand plan actually is, and her goal was actually a person. Kihara Gensei. Yeah, I've been trying to memorize that it's not Gensai, it's Gensei. Oh, and not to mention that 10032 is safe. The only reason that she erased her friend's memories is because most likely they were gonna get in the way. And the reason she didn't team up with Railgun in the first place is because she can't trust her because she can't read her mind. And she has no affiliation whatsoever with Member. I think that pretty much covers it. And out that episode with conversation between Mitori and Gensei. Something that'll make a lot more sense in today's episode. So we pretty much begin where we left off. Mizuka and Misaki have infiltrated the base where they think Gensei is currently at, each one taking their own approach. Mizuka decides to do the undercover spy routine, stripping a guard down to his skivvies and attempting to blend in while reaching her way to the top. I mean, let's be honest, these are all adult men and you're a fucking girl and a child. I mean, you're young, right? She's like, what, 15, 16? Like how the fuck are you not getting noticed even like on lower levels? And at the very top, the guy's like, she's acting peculiar. Like, yo, she's a little fucking girl and you're an old fucking dude. Like, but I mean, it fucking worked. She made her way all to the fucking top, so Jesus. Meanwhile, you know, Mental Out's doing her shit. She's using her power and using it well. I mean, I gotta give props to whoever made that remote. I mean, it puts Logitech to shame. Okay, side thought, who would win a fight? The remote that Mental Out uses or the one from the movie Click? You know, the Adam Sandler, Christopher Walken spiel? Yeah, death fight, go. Anyways, like I said, Mental Out is doing her thing, mind fucking basically everyone she comes across, and even not mind fucking some of them, like just leaving them to basically become super paranoid, not trusting anyone, and the entire organization is just dissolving. She just inserts the idea of someone could be a traitor and therefore everyone can't trust anyone. So it's a real mind fuck, and it's funny that Mizuka actually points that shit out as she's going up to the top. Now, like I said, they eventually both reach the top, each in their own way, eventually taking out the old bald guard. Soon after, a couple Misaki slaves show up, telling her that they have Gensei captured. Now, meanwhile, Kuroko, Ueharu, and Saten are trying to investigate the perpetrator of the previous hostage incident, and they believe they actually found her. It is Kozaku Mitori, or at least they believe it's her. Somehow her records are sealed, and even a judgment agent like Shirai can't get into them. So to further investigate what the fuck's going up, they have to go to the judgment center or center office, whatever the fuck they called it. It's definitely a place where Saten, being a non-judgment agent, can't go, so they decide to part ways. Leading us to my favorite scene of today's episode. Yes, I believe this is the first instance we see Saten and Touma actually meeting. Remember, the Dahase festival is still fucking going on, there's still activities, and it looks like Touma is currently working on the scavenger hunt, and he's given an almost impossible item. I mean, this is the city of science, so why the fuck would someone believe in a good luck charm or even have one on their person? Well, it turns out Saten does, and she's not really keen on giving it up. Even decides to dip on him, throwing a little prayer his way, saying, good luck, but nah, this shit's mine and I'm keeping it. Only to run into him a little while later and decides to throw him a little pity bone. Fine, you know what? If you promise to give it back to me, I'll let you have it. And I love for the fact that he reached out, with Imagine Breaker and yet pulled back. Like, he wasn't so callous thinking, you know what? If this thing really does have good luck in it, I don't want to fucking ruin it for this girl. You know what? Let me go ahead and take it. Deciding to, meet up in a little while to return it after the scavenger hunt is over. And if not, he can always return it to Judgment Branch. I believe it was 177. So Touma takes off, and what does Saten decide to do? Oh yeah, you know that factory that was listed on suspicious locations, the one we were going over earlier? Yeah, it's around here somewhere, so why don't I fucking go investigate it? Now, as far as I'm aware, Saten is still a level fucking 0, showing, no aptitude when it comes to almost anything. I'm not saying she's dumb or she's incompetent, but on a scale of infant to Railgun, she's closer to infant. And even she realizes this after sneaking into the factory and seeing that it's occupied in actual, in working order. She decides to run through a giant steel door that's about to shut, and on the other side realizes her fucking mistake and tries to get out. I mean, at some point after sneaking into a so-called abandoned factory, seeing some shady looking motherfuckers and going through a giant electronically controlled door, she should have fucking realized, like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I mean, goddamn, even Batman had gadgets and shit. What the fuck do you have? You're wearing gym clothes and a backpack. Not to mention, you gave away your good luck charm to Touma, so that ain't doing you any fucking good. What the fuck are you doing? But lo and behold, this leads us to our big reveal. Heading further into this factory, she eventually runs across Xochitl. Now, those two have a history together, and it looks like Saten has made an impact on this Aztec wizard. So much so that she decides to actually let her go. An underground faction of member actually letting a person live. So at this point, Saten takes off, crying. She decides to fucking book it. You know what? I'm out of here. But all of a sudden, her naivety turns around and was like, stops her dead track, turns around like, oh wait, I'm trapped in here. Can you come let me out? Like, I don't know how to get out of here. And in that split second, it actually saved her life. For a stream of liquid metal slices through the hallway she was just about to enter, narrowly missing her, only slicing, the bottom of her book bag. But it was a clean cut and it definitely would have done some devastating damage. Once again, Saten decides to dip. You know what? This is way above a level 0 pay grade. I'm fucking out of here. And at this point, the liquid metal puppet begins to question Xochitl and her decision to let Saten go. Like, what are you doing? She's, an intruder. Why aren't you, actually killing her? I'm surprised. Now, at this point, two things happen. The goons from early in the episode show up, and Mitori's, liquid metal puppet gives them some orders to, go after Saten. And Xochitl actually takes a phone call from the doctor. I believe he's the, the head of member. And like I said, this is the instance where we get a pretty big revelation. When the goons finally, come back with Saten in hand, Mitori tells them, hey, you know what? Get the information out of her and do whatever you will. I mean, basically telling her to fucking offer once you're done. But Xochitl does not like the sound of that. Two reasons. First of all, like I said, she's pretty close to this so-called rat. I mean, her and Saten obviously have, some history. But another thing is, she doesn't like fucking traitors, which is actually ironic since Mitori just called her once for taking out the goon. But yeah, it turns out the doctor was relaying some pretty important information. Member is supposed to be an underground faction that works directly under the board of Academy City, like, the top dogs. Well, it turns out Mitori actually isn't working for the governing board. She's actually working, I believe, directly with Gensei. And in turn, I believe is manipulating Member into doing their bidding. I mean, she's not the go-between, for the governing board and Member. She's actually, usurped that position, and they're working for Gensei. Now, all in all, this conversation de-escalates very quickly. So Xochitl is like, hey, you don't know what I'm capable of. You don't know what the fuck's going on. And even Mitori's like, yeah, your power is nothing like I've seen in Academy City. So, yeah, I'm gonna drop it for now. And she skedaddles. Now, before we lose focus on Mitori, though, remember early in the episode where Uehara, Kuroko, and Saten decide to split up? Well, it actually turns out they uncovered a pretty big piece of information when it comes to Mitori, or at least a conspiracy theory when it comes to her. This girl was actually in a reform school due to I believe it was an attempted terroristic act 14 months ago. But according to the woman, I believe she's the secretary of wherever the fuck they're at, a lot of these children, these espers, very powerful ones to be precise, when they get to reform school, they're ending up just disappearing. And it's a lot easier to just to say they fucking died than anything. So mid-theory rule has me thinking that Gensei, did he break her out of this reform school and then just, they wrote it off as a mysterious death because it was easier paperwork? Like, is that what's going on? I don't fucking know. Working our way back to Gensei, in fact. Ending out today's episode, Misaki and Mizuka finally make it to Gensei, who has been captured, and it's time for Mental Out to do work. Time to read his mind and figure out whatever the fuck she wants to figure out, but in doing so, she has learned this basically all was a trap, a big trick on the part of Gensei in particular. As she goes up to this fraud and rips his fucking mask off, it turns out, yeah, this dude's a fucking fucking fake. The real Gensei is several moves ahead of Mental Out and even left her a fucking note in this dude's memory. Like, hey, if you're watching this, it means you're there and you know where I'm going. And I believe he calls it exterior, which I assume is where 10032 is currently located at, because he says, you know what, I'm going to it. I'm gonna fucking break into it. And the next scene we get is literally guys breaking into wherever the fuck 10032 is, being held at. So obviously that's the exterior. Why is he going after it? Why is she so, fraught? I mean, she literally anguish and anger on her face as she is storming out the front door, getting into the car. Really cute scene where they bang their head against each other, her and Mizuka. But there's some frustration and anger to hearing, Gensei is going after exterior. So yeah, like I said, an awesome introductory meeting between Saten and Touma. Absolutely loved it. The giant revelation in Mitori, who is an escapee from a reform school, is actually manipulating Member, a dark organization, I believe under the guise of this Gensei, who tricked Mental Out into leaving so-called exterior, the one where 10032 is currently located, and people are breaking into it. Whew. That's a long one. I'm gonna have to cut this shit down, man. That was fucking long. Short episode, but long. I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where it just goes by so quick, but a lot of shit was thrown at you, and I fucking love it. Fucking love it. Bring it on. The more Railgun, the better. So with that being said, I cannot wait for future episodes.